Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. These are the Mishnayot Yomi for Shabbat Va'era. We are starting Perek 23 in Shabbat on the home stretch here. Mishnah Aleph. Shoel Odom Mechavero Kadei Yayin V'Kadei Shemen. A man may borrow from his fellow pitchers of wine and pitchers of oil. V'Vojlo Yomalo, as long as he does not tell him, Holveni, lend me. So to a woman can go to her neighbor, her friend, and borrow, quote-unquote, loaves of bread for Shabbos. Now, the issue here is the word shoel, asking, means, hey, could I have that? And it's mashma for a short time, and they're going to make a reckoning, we're going to see, or they're going to give, whatever it is, they'll make it work. Whereas halveni, is lashon halva, is like lending, as in a loan, as in a monetary transaction. Halveni is usually for a long time, says the Bartanura, so people might write it down. And you're not getting with a loan, with a halva, milva lahotzon ditna, so it's given to be used up, it's not given back. So he's more likely to come to write it down. The Mishnah continues, if he doesn't trust him that he's going to, give back the equivalent or pay back after Shabbos, maniach talito etzlo. So the borrower, the asker, can leave his talis there, leave his jacket or his coat with the person. And they'll make a reckoning of how much, to give back or pay back after Shabbat. Now, he doesn't say this is a guarantee, like Yehuda said to Tamar, because that was not on Shabbat, obviously. They were making a financial transaction there. He's just, as a reminder, I'm leaving my cloak here, so I'm going to come back. You can rest assured I'm going to come back. And then they'll figure it out after Shabbat. The Mishnah continues. B'chen Erev Pesach b'Yerushalayim. Halavai, we should be in Yerushalayim, Erev Pesach. Shachaliot b'Shabbat. And it was a Shabbat Erev Pesach. So he needs to get his animal for his carbon Pesach. So what does he do? Maniach talito etzlo. So he leaves his talit, he leaves his garment by the carbon seller, by the carbon merchant. He takes his paschal lamb, and after Yom Tov is over, he'll come back to get his talit and pay off his carbon. Mishnah Bet. Mone adam et orchav. A person may count his guests, that's parparotav, and his portions. These are like mine ma'adanim, like desserts or appetizers, something yummy. Mipiv, from memory of olobenikatav, but not from the list. Now, the issue here is if it's from memory and he's like looking at the bowls of soup or the bowls of appetizers and counting how many guests from memory, who's coming, then to figure out if he has enough plates or enough settings or whatever it is. If it's from memory, he's not going to come to any problems, but if it's from a list, he might say, oh, yeah, Mr. Cohen said he's not coming. You might cross him off the list, or he might add someone to the list, and you'd have a problem. There's also an issue the Gemara brings up of shtari hedyotot, of it literally means like just regular documents. So anything that's not a sefer, anything that's not kitvei kodesh, that's not Torah, there was a concern about dealing with these, non-kodesh shtarot writings, and a list of guests would fall into that category. Obviously, the caterer has to look at his guest list. But on Shabbat, we're concerned he's, going to make additions or subtractions or calculations to his guest list. The Mishnah continues, Meifis im banav im bnei beito al shulchan. He can make lots, like pick portions by raffle, with his children and with his household members on the table, meaning like who gets what plate. As long as they don't intend to, raffle a bigger portion versus a smaller portion, and that's because of gambling, the isser of misachek bekuvia, of rolling dice or playing with dice. Now the Bartanura here explains that the Mishnah is missing a phrase. What the Mishnah means is you can cast lots with your own children, your own household. That's even if one portion is bigger and one portion is smaller, because they're not makbid. With other people, you can't do this on Shabbat or Yom Tov, but you could on a weekday, as long as you don't have portions that are bigger and smaller, because that's like gambling. And he explains the issue with gambling. We might have heard of as asmachta. Asmachta is a conditional commitment, but asmachta lo kanya. So the person puts in his money or puts in his raffle or he's relying on a certain outcome, but that might not happen. And he was never really wholehearted about that. He was expecting to win. So if he knew he was going to lose, he never would have agreed, never would have put his money down or bought the lottery ticket or whatever it is. Therefore, smachta lo konya. The Mishnah here concludes, Matilin choloshim alakodshim b'yom tov. You can cast lots. This choloshim is from the pasuk in Yeshayahu, cholosh al goyim, who casts lots over the nations. But it means lots, the same as the goral or the payis that we talked about in the Mishnah, of lo al hamanot, but not on specific portions. So what this means, the Bartner explains, is the Kohanim could cast lots on Yom Tov for the karbanot that were slaughtered on Yom Tov, but not the parts of the sacrifices from yesterday, from the preceding weekday. Shkoyach Rabotai, Shabbat Shalom.